Hey, this is Dave Negri. I just don't say it enough, but I just want to thank every one of you, construction owners and business owners who show up every week to listen to our guests and some of the things that I have to say. So I'm in the process of creating Contractor Secret Weapon University. And it's going to be rolling out within the next 30 days or so, and it will be invitation only. So if I don't have your email, and it's something you might want to check out further when it becomes available, go to the website, contractorsecretweapon.com, and get the free ebook. Get more high-end customers, 15 secret weapon strategies to doing business with high-end customers, and then I'll have your email address. So that's pretty easy. So this week, I have Ling Wong, and we'll go into the interview, but she is actually a wordsmith. You know how a lot of times us guys, we know how to sell our services. We know how to make that click. But one of the biggest challenges is getting to the people so we can sell our services. Lynn is a wordsmith, and I'm sure you'll figure that out when we go through the interview. So I'm going to introduce her right now. Okay, hey, this is Dave Negri with Contractor Secret Weapon, and today I have Ling Wong with me, and I'm really excited because I'm going to introduce her, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. And so Ling is an intuitive brainiac, creative mentor, copywriting alchemist, and she's an author of Copywriting Alchemy: Secrets to Turning a Powerful Personal Brand into Content That Sells. And through a unique blend of marketing, coaching, content strategy, and copywriting process, she helps the maverick entrepreneur uncover, articulate, transform their why into content that connects, resonates, and converts by the way of intuitive yet rigorous interactive process. And it all comes out of the way she was trained, her Harvard School of Design, and the amount of years she's been in the marketing industry. She's a marketer, and she knows how to talk, and she knows, and of course, by the introduction, knows how to write. You know, the intuitive brainiac, creative mentor, alchemist, turning words into gold. So Ling, I just want to thank you for being with us today and being willing to share your passion, because I can tell by the way you write and what I've read that you really care about what you do and the results you get for the people you do work for.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Sure. So how did you get started into the copywriting and helping customers?
Oh my God, it's kind of a long and windy road. Yeah, it's like people are like, how did you get started? So I was working in an online marketing agency. I was a project manager, so I had my fingers in many pies. Like strategy, I knew strategy, I knew design, content, like basically the entire process of taking a piece of online marketing campaign or material from start to finish. And then I decided that, you know what, I'm not cut out for sitting in the office. So I jumped off the cliff essentially and got my health coach training and started my health coaching business. Zero entrepreneurial blood in my family. And I'm just going to jump in and do it. So I did. But before long, a lot of health coaches came to me and say, hey, can you help me with my website? I love the stuff you said on that Facebook group about marketing. Can you help me? So not too long after that, I sort of transitioned into doing a lot of online marketing coaching.
Okay.
Business coaching for other health and wellness coaches. And then eventually, other coaches found me. So life coaches and relationship coaches. But the interesting thing is I would, be in a coaching session and I would be talking and brainstorming with them. And they're always like, wait, what did you just say? I have to write that down. That is gold. So I'm like, oh my God, maybe there's something in there. So for a while, I insisted that I only write for my coaching clients because it's sort of like the integrity is I need to know what that person is about before I feel good about writing for him or her. So that went on for a couple of years. And then I have one day someone just randomly asked me, and then I just randomly said yes. So I was like, okay, now let's figure it out. And then I realized that when I look at how I work with my client, I was able to develop a process, what I call a copywriting process with clarity coaching baked into this co-creation process. So I would not, and what my clients appreciate me for and really come to me for is that clarity part. Because it's not just going to, let's say, going to some freelancer site and hire someone and spit out some words.
Okay.
We actually create that personal brand, find that voice, get that clarity before I let them write a word. So that's how it came about.
Wow, that's pretty interesting, and I hear a lot of things in what you're saying, where you really take on the responsibility of getting to know the person that you're writing for, so that you see the things in them that they don't see.
Exactly, and a lot of times they have all these ideas swirling in their head, and they just have to put it down on paper to see to see that golden thread and create a narrative around it, so that yes, of course it's important to connect with the audience, but more importantly, you need, like, the person himself need to connect with that message, to feel confident about it, to feel good about it, before you can put forth that message in a way that is congruent, that you feel confident when you, let's say, when you get in front of a client and you talk about it. You have to buy into it. You have to feel excited about it. I mean, if you're not convinced about what you're saying, you cannot expect the other side to be convinced.
Absolutely. And I think one of the important things that I was thinking about is, and I read a chapter in your book, and it was kind of interesting on how you would help your clients put together the proper words and the things to write, the things to do and say, and it would get put aside. Because they felt comfortable with the old ways, even though they weren't working. It's like, do you ever hear the story about the dog that sits on the porch and there's a guy rocking and he howls every once in a while because his tail gets stuck underneath the and he never moves it. And we get stuck in those situations where we know it's not doing us the thing it ought to do, but we really we're not going to change. And so I like the way that you progressed with your clients, and you said, "All right, I'll do it. I'll get it done, and I'll get it written, and I'll get it done right." And I think from that standpoint, you took a lot of the fear of the change away from them.
Yes, I think, because I really make it as straightforward as possible, right?
Yeah.
Here is the copy deck. Pop it into a website. Cut and paste. Come on, you can do it.
Right.
And I think there's a couple of layers to people not implementing, right? First is the writing part. They just can't find the word. Like I said, right? There are all these great things, all these ideas and clarity swirling in their head, and they don't know, where's the beginning of that thread to start unraveling the thoughts, to make it into a clean line that that takes the reader from point A to point B. And that's the practical part. Not everybody has the has the ability to really see the thread of narrative from beginning to end, and really weave in everything that they have about themselves, right? Their conviction, their values, personality, life experience, training, expertise, and create a narrative that communicate their relevance and value to a market.
Right. And when here's an interesting thing that I see as you're talking, and I'm going, well, they're not going to write it because that's bragging.
Exactly.
But when you write it, it's a completely different animal.
Absolutely, that's that part too.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. And a lot of it, especially when I work with women, there's like the preconditioning, the societal expectation, right? You don't brag, you don't talk about all these things that you have done.
Right.
But if you lay it out on the table and see how they feed into your current work, your message, you see that this is a lifelong journey. It is not about bragging. It is about telling people how you get from, way back when to today. And that's all these that feed into the unique approach that you bring into your work.
Right. I used to tell people before I started doing consulting and stuff, but a long time ago, I said, if you ever really want to know, because a lot of people, they don't see themselves as they truly are. They're just doing their job, or they're just doing their business, and that's an everyday thing. So I used to tell people, I said, listen, if you want to find out and you want to really take a look at who you are, I said, go have a resume written. Because that person will highlight all of the stuff that you tell him what you did, but he'll put it into words on how you did it and what maybe the thoughts were behind it, and that's what you're doing. You're basically writing a resume for a business.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting way to put it.
Yeah.
And I would say that for a lot of sort of people that I work with, mostly coaches, consultants, service professionals, and solopreneurs, it's not so much about, there's the line between personal and business is really blurred, because a lot of the services, right? It is really about trusting the person,
right,
delivering the service, and you cannot hide from it. You cannot hide behind a logo and just sell, that service that takes you all the way down to the commodity level, basically. And you're not building that trust that people are looking for when they're looking for, let's say, a coach, right? You're talking about something really personal. Mm-hmm. I want to trust this person before I pay you $3,000, right?
Right. Yeah, I had that conversation last night with a guy. He does websites and he does SEO for roofers. And later on, we were talking about, and he goes, I said, the biggest challenge is that there's so many people out there that are distrustworthy. Let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. And he says, here I am. And he said, it bothers me that there are people like that. But he says, then I'm selling. He said, it's going to cost them about $30,000 a year to do business with me. And I said, you're selling it the wrong way. He goes, why? I said, it's $81.65 a day. Mm. He goes, that's what they pay for a lead. I said, okay, you're going to give them more than that. So it's perspective, and it's how other people see things, and that's why it's so important to bring someone like yourself in, because you hear what they're saying. They can sell their services because they've got that script in their mind. Yeah. But they haven't figured out how to sell themselves or get the phone to ring, and that's where you come in.
And that is that's like such a great way to put it. And selling themselves, like that personality, that personal brand, is the distinction between, being seen as a commodity versus having a high price elasticity, right. Meaning people pay a premium because they trust you, they want to work with you. They don't want to work with the your competition because they are not you. Right, and their potential clients need to know that before they even get to the door. Mm-hmm. Yeah, very interesting. I had once I had a client. He was building his relationship coaching business, but he was he offered like handyman and plumbing services, and he told me he is like the most expensive handyman / plumber in town, and his schedule is full. Yep. Like people just wait for him to be free to get his service because he has this really exuberant personality. He walked in and he get people's trust. Yeah, yeah. And they also know that whatever price he pays, he's done once. Mm-hmm. They're not going to have to call someone back. I had one lady who I know, and she says, I can't. I said, I've had things done 3 and 4 times to my house. And I'm going, I'm sorry to hear that, because she was looking for price and not value. Yeah, absolutely. So this is pretty cool. So how do your clients just, is it a lot of word of mouth? And
They get in touch with you. I know you have a blog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you write a lot on that. That's got to be more. It's like coming home. That's like working on the computer all day and going home and working on the computer again, huh?
I like writing. I mean, writing for my blog is a creative outlet.
Yeah.
So I, definitely a big part of my marketing is content.
Uh-huh.
What I would call, basically the way that I see it is I am really using a lot of inbound marketing methodology to get my leads. And when those leads build the trust factor, then they will reach out to me eventually. And so it's, like a lot of content marketing and inbound marketing kind of thing, it's not it's a long game, basically. When you look at a lot of content marketers, successful content marketer, they have been publishing for a few years. So I know a lot of people who looked at blogging and they looked at, okay, it's not doing anything for me. But you only published 5 blog articles. Hello. And then they toss it aside.
And then you can put it on autopilot, right? Or do you write them and post them?
I write them and I post them. I think my way of doing it is that a lot of things to me it's like it comes to me.
Okay.
It's very spontaneous.
So you're in the moment when you write.
Exactly. Like I decided that this is the thing I want to talk about because I am passionate about it and I want to talk about it, and that energy comes through. Versus if I have to set myself to follow a content calendar, I have to write about this topic no matter what, rain or shine.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of the creativity will become stifled.
Okay, no, I understand. I know, because it's kind of weird because I enjoy writing, and when I first started writing, probably a few years ago, my wife says, "You're terrible. You don't know how to write." And I go, "Okay, that's fine." So I wrote something. I've been writing all of her stuff lately for her bit. She goes, "Gee, you've improved." I said, "Yeah, that happens with practice."
Mm-hmm. It does. It gets faster, it gets easier, and you get better.
Yeah. And see, like, when I write stuff, it's like, I really have to think about it. And so, I mean, good thing it's only for me, because I would be terrible to write stuff for other people because I don't like to be under pressure. And when I'm ready, then I sit down because I probably run every scenario through my mind. And then the hardest part is picking the words, is writing the words, and that's not good enough, or that's not the right word, and what other word can I use that would be more powerful or get somebody's attention.
Absolutely.
And but it's fun, and I know what you go through. And I'm trying to. So when you now, I'm sure you handle you. That was not a good word. Handle. You help your clients in many different ways. You help them with what are some of the main things that you help them with? Are you talking
about like the sort of like kind of services, coaching?
Yeah, the kind of services you do.
Like,
yeah.
So I'm really honing in on copywriting and content strategy right now. Just because I have no problem selling coaching, but I mean, it gets me really frustrated when I see people with the clarity and not being able to implement, and they basically pay the same price to do coaching or to get the clarity coaching baked into the writing process, and they can walk away with a copy deck. Like, what would you choose? Like,
well, I'd want the whole enchilada.
Get the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, and you have no idea how many people, they came to me first, just want to explore coaching. When I tell them, look, I can just write a damn thing for you, they're like, holy crap, sign me up.
Yeah, that goes to that fear thing again, I don't know what to expect. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty cool that you can help them. Now, when you talk, I know what content writing is, but explain it to someone who does not really understand. So let's say that, is it for their website? Is it for their advertising? Is it for their marketing, their social media? What type of content marketing do you write?
Right. I would say as long as you build that solid foundation, as long as I built that solid foundation with the client, we can go on to write anything. We would start, or people come to me for website content. Not only it's still like home for you on the website. When people look you up, you need to have a home page, you need to have an about page and a service page. And going through those three core pages also give you the level of clarity, the sort of like all the important bits and pieces that you can apply to anything else. So we typically go through those website pages first, and I also do, for some clients, I do ghost blogging, ghost writing.
Okay.
I do, clients come to me, hey, for clients who have been working with me for a while, they can just come to me and say, hey, I have this video this video series I want to do. I'm like, okay, send me the script. I'll do the editing for you. Or that client who wants to sort of get me to do a once over and recommendation for her coaching program. All the materials, where to improve. So I can do that because we have worked together before and we get that foundation built. I know what she's about. I know what kind of personality, what kind of voice she needs to come through in her materials. So that's like pretty much you can, once we have that solid foundation, you can throw me the kitchen sink.
Right. Once you know who they are, what they're about, what they do, what they're willing to, or what they stand for, then you can pretty much, and what their business does, then you can pretty much write anything for them because it's in your head, and not in theirs, but in your head, there's a template.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
To a point, yeah.
Is the template. I mean, it's really about that person.
Right, but I meant you have their personal template. I mean, you have them. You have everything about them in your head. What makes them tick, and their thoughts, and their desires, and what they mean, or what they stand for. And so you probably have more knowledge about them than they think they do. Or you can portray it in a much better way than they can.
Yeah. That would be a good way to say it. And then it is about layering that, that personal blueprint, right, on top of the best practice for a piece of content to be created.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome. This has been exciting because I love marketing. It's next to money. It's probably equal.
It's fun.
It is. No, it is because you get to be creative, and it's great for creative people. For people who aren't creative, then it's hard to understand, But I get jazzed when I look at somebody's business and I go, have you tried that? I never even thought about that. Or have you thought about this? No, I never thought about that either. And here again, and that's why it's so important to have people like you, because each one of your clients is going through their own weeds, and they can't see beyond the weeds, but you can, because you're standing on their shoulders.
Yeah, that's like sort of the big picture. And it's really, and I think the key is, and I love how you brought up like really about them, because that's the part that so many people who talk about marketing, they focus on, the target market, the niche, the messaging, like all the templates and practice out there. Yeah. But not talking about the person. Right. And the person is so important because it is this drives what goes into all those best practices. Right. Well, one of the neatest things I heard not too long ago really helped me to understand a lot, especially about marketing and designing programs and stuff like that, was that each person has a personality, but yet so does each business. And and that's so important. And it's so important. And so you would never say, like if someone's an introvert, you're never going to tell them to go networking. Exactly. Because it's just not going to work.
Now, they may
Exactly.
pay somebody on their team to go do it, but they're just not going to do it. It's like me. I hate the phone. It's just one of those things. So, I mean, on my voicemail it says, I will, thanks so much for calling, blah, blah, blah. I return phone calls at 1 in 5. And the only reason I put the 1 in 5 is so it forces me not to be a liar.
I mean, this is so important. What you brought up is so critical because it's one of the layers that I take my clients through when building their expression of the message.
Right.
You have all these ideas and message and words, but how are you going to express that? That is the format, right?
Right.
And in today's sort of all the marketing rules and things that they're teaching, right? There are so many things that you can do. How are you going to pick one or two that you can focus on rather than, having the bright, shiny object syndrome and doing a dozen things but none get done, right?
Right. You can only do one at a time.
Exactly. And that is about really understanding the sort of the sweet spot where your strength, the need of your material and the sort of the preference or learning style of your ideal clients.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's really important to understand your own strength, like what is going to put your strength in the best light possible.
Right. And how can you get the best use out of that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So it's really been a lot of fun talking with you about marketing and about you are a wordsmith, as they put it. How can our listeners get in touch with you so that they can find out more about your services? Because, like I said before, they know how to sell themselves, but it's someone like you that helps them get people to their door so they can sell their services. So how can our listeners get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So my website is business-soulwork.com, SOULWORK.com, business-soulwork.com. And if you want to go straight to my copywriting service, this is business-soulwork.com/copywriting.
Okay, and I'll make sure all this goes on our show notes page.
Yeah, thank you.
And again, the name of your book. Tell us about your book. The name of your book.
Yeah, the name of the book is Copywriting Alchemy: Secrets to Turning a Powerful Personal Brand into Content That Sells. If you go on to Amazon, you can just type in Copywriting Alchemy, and so far that's the only one the only book that goes by that name.
Right, and so I was looking at the preview earlier, and it's really good. She's got some really good stuff in there. So go, and we'll put the link to that in there too. Go.
Thank you.
And that would be the best introduction to really help you decide on whether you want to hire Lynn to put the right words out there so your clients will call you.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that.